Forecasting, did you see forecasting is used in every operation of the MNC, because MNC is dealing with more than one currencies, right? So this is the importance of uh, forecasting. So we have a very good example here. So let's read it together. So we have Avansville Corporation wants it wants to determine whether to establish a subsidiary in Thailand. The earnings to be generated by the proposed subsidiary in Thailand would need to be periodically converted into dollars to be remitted to the US parents. So the company want to establish its subsidiary in Thailand, and they want to see that this company should periodically send back money to the head office. The capital budgeting process requires estimating future cash flows to be received by the parent company in US. So these dollar cash flows are dependent on forecasting exchange rate of the Thai currency, which is baht against dollar, right? So you want to see that date, or you want to fix, or you want to hedge that rate on which when you convert the baht into dollars, you will receive appropriate dollars or more dollars, not less dollar due to its exchange rate, right? So basically, by forecasting, the forecasting going to tell you that okay, the baht rate is going down or going up, and then you will decide whether it should remit or not. So accurate forecast of currency values will improve the accuracy of the estimated cash flows and therefore enhanced MNC's decision making, right? So my question is, if finance manager is always about finding out the dates when the money is going to be reverted from Thailand to America, so their timely decision making is going to be hurt. Like I told you, finance managers of the company, the CFOs of the company, has to make decisions regarding the cash available, right? And they, for example, if they need money on 31st of December, they will arrange money on 31st of December. So no matter what is the exchange rate. So to manage the exchange rate, they in advance ask their finance managers, and they say that okay, what will be your forecast on 31st of December? If it's against your favor, then you go towards the option contract or forward contract immediately, right? And if you see that okay, if everything is going good, then you, for safe purposes, you go for options. If something bad happen, we will cash our options. If not, then we will let it expire, right? So forecasting used for hedging, for investing in projects, remitting the money, and deciding whether to obtain financing in other currencies or not. So this will impact your cash flows, cash coming to the business and cash going out from the business, and of course it will be affecting your firm's valuation, right? And also, if you are financing from other countries, the forecasting will help you to manage or decrease the cost of capital, right? So that you don't have to pay more interest because of the exchange rate, right? So there are three kinds of forecasting techniques. Number one, technical. Number two, fundamental. Number three, market-based forecasting. So we'll talk about the introduction over there, because right now we are the beginners. So I'm going to be explaining this at a beginner level. So calculating and understanding all these techniques is basically more advanced level. So you will be studying in master's or MPhil or PhD level. Or if you join the company, you will be promoting after 3 to 4 years. Then you will talk about on the in those sectors, the training gonna give you for like managerial positions. Then you will talk about okay, SVP kind of job. You will be given trainings regarding forecasting, this kind of stuff. So we are just gonna overlook how technical forecasting gonna be done. So technical forecasting, it involves the historical exchange rate to predict the future. So technical means you are seeing the past, and on the basis of past, you predict the future, like we normally do. Okay, what happened to the yuan in last January? The price goes down, yuan depreciated in January, and then you worried about your fees and you or if you are earning, then you worried about sending money to your parents in January. So you base your analysis based on technical analysis, right? Okay, so there may be a trend of successive daily exchange rate adjustment in the same direction, which could lead a continuation of that trend. So normally the exchange rates are higher in Christmas days. Why is that? Because the past is telling you, and there's maybe a reason for that, because everyone is now spending. So people are spending money to purchase foreign products, and then foreign products are displayed because this is a shopping festival. Christmas is coming, and then New Year is coming, right? Gift gonna be exchanged. People will be spending the money, right? So that's why when spending is gonna be there, there's gonna be exchange rate involved, and then exchange rate increase or decrease according to the situation over there, right? So there are also anomalies as well. Okay, Monday the exchange rates doesn't go up and go down very fast, because Monday normally people they don't want to work. They want to pen the decisions on next day. But what about Friday? People are very enthusiastic and they want to purchase and they want to sell. They want to just close down every week's transaction, and they just want to pay the payments and all the stuff, because they want to enjoy, or they want to have they want to spend weekend with the family, with the friends, with the holidays and all the stuff. So there are some anomalies behind that. So you see the seasonal effect as well, right? So the limitation of technical forecasting is that it focuses on near future. So you cannot predict next 2 years or next 3 years exchange rate based on past year performance, past 5 years data. If you want to just predict for 2 or 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, you can use that, right? Near future. It rarely provides point estimate or range of possible future values. Yes, mathematical term. So it doesn't provide you with more possibilities like we develop in mathematical formulas. Okay, what is optimistic value, what is pessimistic, what is most likely. It's like that. It just gives you, okay, in these days or in the trend is going down, so the value will go down. It's like more like extrapolation, because we are basing our thoughts or our analysis on the already historical trends, so we see that it's likely to continue in future. Technical forecasting models that work well in one period may not work well in another. So a simple one is past performance cannot guarantee the future outcomes or future performances, right? This is the biggest drawback of technical forecasting, right? Fundamental forecasting, which is based on some relationships, some fundamentals, uh, some concepts, right? Some variables, exchange rate. So who drive the exchange rate? Okay, we know that inflation, we know that the interest rate, we know the government controls, we know the expectations. So what happened between these four variables will be changing our exchange rate in futures, right? So it is also based on some sensitivity analysis. So we know that inflation, interest, what is sensitivity, by the way? What is sensitivity analysis? Sensitivity analysis is that, for example, here, we know that regression a plus bx plus c z, for example. So we have, for example, two factors that causing exchange rate to differ. Let me add one thing. T. So we know that exchange rate depends on inflation, interest, and government controls, right? So normally we change one variable and we see the effect. What happens if interest rate changes? What will be the what will be the exchange rate. So sensitivity analysis allow us to change more than one variable at the same time to see the effect on exchange rate. So if expectation changes, at the same time interest rate changes, and at the same time inflation changes, what will happen to the exchange rate? So this is called sensitivity analysis. So normally we change one variable and then we see the effect. But in real life, it's not like that. It's a chain process. If you trigger one thing, if you change the inflation, interest rate automatically change. When interest rate changes, expectation already changes. And then in order to cope up the inflation and interest rate, high interest rate, government controls are needed as well. So government also do some sterilization techniques, non-sterilization techniques to cope up with the inflation, right? So that's why sensitivity analysis is more popular and more authentic method. But the relationship is based on some kind of uh, you know mm, mm, uh, cause and effect relationship. It's not like that if I add, okay, does raining also affect the exchange rate? No, because that is not cause and effect relationship. Okay, Monday affects the exchange rate. That doesn't mean that every time the Monday day of the week affect the exchange rate. So there is no cause and effect relationship. So in fundamental analysis, so the relationship between the variables, they are we analyze those relationship of the variables and then we predict the exchange rate. So we know that the relationships are inflation, interest, government controls, and expectations, right? Use of PPP. We already talked about that. In use of PPP, we only talk about, we forecast the exchange rate based on inflation differential. We talked about its drawbacks as well, right? So limitation of the fundamental is that we don't know the timing. So according to us, if inflation